Hello friends and welcome to In-Depth Formula 1 first episode. F1 cars are actually an engineering marvel created by the most experienced engineer with the most cutting-edge technology being the most efficient engine on the planet. In this first episode, I am going to talk about the powertrain that is used in the turbo hybrid era, which is the present era of Formula 1 cars. In the year of 2014, everything changed. We brought back the turbo engine. Now, in the turbo hybrid era, we are using a 1.6 liter turbo hybrid engine in our Formula 1 cars. It's been 6 years now, and the engine has been improved a lot for producing the power as well as the efficiency of the engine. But the challenge was the rev limit of the engine has been shrunk to 15,000 rpm, and we were only able to use 100 kg of fuel. So the engine must be more efficient for producing more power and for utilizing the fuel more efficiently and effectively. 1.6 liter is a pretty small number, right? But the engine is able to produce a bigger number in case of its power. The engine is able to, the internal combustion engine only is able to produce a power greater than 700 HP by now. And with the help of the ER system or the energy recovery system, the total powertrain is able to produce a power of nearly 1000 horsepower. So let's look in depth how the engine is able to produce these massive numbers. Come on, let's dig into the engine dimensions. This machine is equipped with an oversquare engine, which is short stroke. We have a longer bore and a shorter stroke, as you can see in the left side. So the engine with respect to the dimension is classified as 3: square engine, which have an equal bore and stroke, and long stroke engine, which have a long stroke but short bore. We know that our total engine displacement is 1.6 liter, which is 1600 centimeter cube. So we have 6 cylinders. Our engine is a V6, so we can find the displacement of a single combustion chamber. And if we do the math, we can find the displacement of a single cylinder is 266.67 centimeter cube. As I already said, we are using an oversquare engine which have a shorter stroke and longer bore. How big is the bore is? The answer is between 80 to 85 millimeter. So if you are considering a bore length of 80 millimeter, now the volume of a single cylinder, so we can easily find the stroke length. The stroke length will be only 53 millimeter. So you can see that bore to stroke ratio is 1.51. Despite from the norm that is put forward by FIA, which is the rev limit is 15,000 rpm. With this stroke to bore ratio or bore to stroke ratio, the engine is capable of revving higher than 15,000 rpm. But we limited the rev range of the engine by controlling the fuel supply and everything with respect to that. And you all know that F1 cars are able to accelerate from 0 to 100 km per hour in 2 seconds. And the most wonderful thing is, Formula 1 cars engines are able to produce a thermal efficiency of greater than 50% by now. Most of us are considering as long stroke engines are more efficient than short stroke engines because we have a higher expansion ratio, and by using this higher expansion ratio we have more piston travel, which can easily convert all the combustion forces, that is all the pressure forces that is created due to the combustion process, into useful work. So the engine can be more thermal efficient if we are preferring a long stroke engine configuration. And by using the longer stroke length, we are able to produce more torque. You know, the equation of torque is the product of force and radius. Here the force is the force that is created due to the combustion process inside the combustion chamber, and the combustion pressure created, there will be a force that is pushing the piston down, and this force and the radius is the crank radius or the half of the stroke length. So higher the stroke length means we will have more torque. With this shorter stroke length of the Formula 1 engine, how we can make it that much acceleration by using the shorter stroke length. Even if we are having a shorter stroke, we have a longer bore diameter. Longer bore diameter means more exposed area of the piston head into the combustion chamber. So we have higher piston head area inside the combustion chamber. We know that the torque is force into radius. Here the radius, which is the crank radius, is fixed, and we can change the force. We know the pressure force is created inside the combustion chamber in the combustion process is equal to the force by area. So the force created inside the combustion chamber, or the force that is pushing the piston down, is equal to the product of pressure and area. Here we are having a larger area, which means we can create more force and more torque as well. So this is the proof that overscore engine can also accelerate much better. But the biggest challenge is the thermal efficiency. By using higher stroke length, we will have more expansion ratio. By using the more expansion ratio, we will be able to convert all the heat generated during the combustion process into useful work. By using the shorter stroke, we doesn't have that much time. So how the engine is able to provide a thermal efficiency greater than 50% by using a single fuel injector and a single spark plug. This higher thermal efficiency is achieved by using a pre-combustion chamber inside the cylinder. You must be heard the word pre-combustion chamber in old combustion ignition engines. Here we are using in a gasoline spark ignition direct injection engine. In a pre-combustion chamber design, we can divide our single combustion chamber as two. There will be pre-combustion chamber and a main combustion chamber as well. The pre-combustion chamber have a pinpoint that is exposed to the spark plug. In our conventional gasoline direct injection design, our spark plug electrode will be exposed to the main combustion chamber, as you can see in the left side. And by using this spark plug, we won't be able to ignite all the fuel inside the combustion chamber, because the only flame front that is created from the spark plug is able to move all over the combustion chamber for completing the combustion process and for providing better thermal efficiency, and it is difficult to achieve with a short stroke engine. In Formula 1 engine norms, we are not able to use multiple spark plugs for providing higher combustion efficiency. Here we are using a single spark plug that is situated in a pre-combustion chamber, and by using the single fuel injector inside the combustion chamber, the fuel injector will inject the fuel and some of the fuel will enter the pre-combustion chamber, and in this side the amount of air will be less and we have very rich fuel in the pre-combustion chamber. And by providing the electric spark will firstly ignite the rich mixture in the pre-combustion chamber, and the expansion of this air fuel mixture in the pre-combustion chamber will create a very huge amount of flame front that is propagating through the small nozzle inside the pre-combustion chamber, which is exposed to the main combustion chamber. So the higher big flame front that is created due to the combustion of the rich mixture will help to create a higher flame propagation and to complete the combustion process and to provide higher thermal efficiency with a short stroke engine. Another advantage of this thing is we can make the main combustion chamber mixture as lean as possible for producing more thermal efficiency and without compromising the power as well. Second part of the internal combustion engine used in Formula 1, which helps to produce more thermal efficiency, is the turbocharger. We know that by using a turbocharger we can increase the thermal efficiency because we are recovering the heat energy that is lost through the exhaust gas. This heat energy will be converted to mechanical energy inside the turbine, and this mechanical energy will be supplied to the compressor, and the compressor will then supply denser air to the engine for producing more power and efficiency. But the energy recovery system that is used in the Formula 1 cars, mainly the MGU-H, which is motor generator unit with heat recovery system, have some variations. It is not an ordinary turbocharger. In an ordinary turbocharger, what we have is a compressor wheel and a compressor housing, and a turbine wheel and a turbine, which are connected by using a solid shaft. The solid shaft length are very much shorter for reducing the torsion effect in the shaft for providing better life for the turbocharger. But in the MGU-H that is used in Formula 1 cars, we are using a split turbo design where the turbine and the compressor are separated by a long distance and a long distance shaft, but we don't have that much bad torsion effect because in this shaft there is a motor generator unit which have the capability to work as generator and motor as well. By using a normal turbocharger at the time of high revving engine periods, we will expel out loads of exhaust gases, and these exhaust gases will rotate the turbine in a very high speeds, and this high speed rotation of the turbine will overboost the engine by compressing loads of air into the combustion chamber. So for preventing this, we are using waste gate inside the turbocharger for preventing this from happening. So we are wasting our exhaust energy. But by using the MGU-H system at this overboosting time period, we can recover the energy by converting the motor into a generator, and we can store this into the battery, and the energy will be supplied to the motor for providing better acceleration by reducing or completely avoid the turbo lagging period. And from the battery there is another way that we can feed the energy to the motor that is coupled in the flywheel for propelling the vehicle forward. So overall the motor generator unit as well as the engine produces a total power of nearly 1000 HP. The first responsibility of the MGU-H that is used in Formula 1 car engine is to avoid turbo lag by rotating the compressor at the starting period of the engine. Here, by using this technology, we can use a big turbocharger in a small engine, so we can avoid the turbo lag because the motor will help the compressor to rotate at the beginning speed of the engine, so we can completely avoid turbo lag and provide better boosting at beginning of the engine by providing better acceleration at the output. The second responsibility is to generate electrical energy from the turbine that is used in the MGU-H. The electrical energy created is by using the mechanical energy from the turbine will be converted to electrical by using the generator, and it will be stored in the storing system which is the battery, and this battery will supply the electrical energy in the needed condition. The next part of energy recovery system is the MGU-K, which is motor generator unit with kinetic energy recovery system, which is used for recovering the kinetic energy of the vehicle. There is a big motor generator unit that is coupled to the flywheel of the internal combustion engine. The motor can work as generator as well. So at the time of braking, the motor will work as a generator and it will recover the energy at the braking period, and the energy will be stored in a battery. And in the need of acceleration or more power, the battery will supply electrical energy to the motor, and the motor will be generating the mechanical energy, and it will assist the internal combustion engine for producing more power in this system. The second advantage of MGU-H or split turbocharger is by using the split turbo design, we doesn't have heat transfer from turbo side to the compressor side. So we doesn't have to provide that much load to the intercooler system for providing a denser charge for combustion process inside the engine. By combining the efficient V6 engine, the MGU-K and MGU-H, we are able to provide a horsepower of nearly 1000 HP. And by using this technology, we can achieve a thermal efficiency of 50% as well. And a turbocharger that can rev up to 1 lakh RPM. This is all for the first episode. Subscribe to my channel to never miss the second episode. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day and bye.